everyone, welcome to our chat with me and Vanessa on Wednesday lunchtime. I'm going to wait until she comes on to start the proper chat. But as you're arriving, come and say hello in the bottom and let me know that you're here. Hi Helen, nice to see you. I wonder how everyone is. So the plan for today is when Vanessa and I are chatting, we're going to go live. I think it will be maximum, I say 15 minutes, it might be 20, but that's just so you know like what this is going to cover. It could be shorter, but there's quite a lot to cover in what people are thinking about and doing around their businesses, and particularly service-based businesses. So I'm going to get Vanessa into the call. Hi, the Hunger Rebel. I don't know your name. Hello. Right, I'm going to get Vanessa on.
Say that I'm good right now.
I love that. It's like, yeah, where on a scale of 0 to 10 are you today? Let's match them.
Well, let's do this hour, shall we?
Right. I'm good actually. I'm all right. I just I've been doing some stuff this morning with the Inspiration Space, which is really nice. It's kind of based down in Surrey, but now they've gone online. It could be for anybody. So it's been lovely. Yeah. Should we get talking?
Yes, let's get talking. Yeah.
So for anyone, we're on my Instagram, obviously. So if you're following me and you know me, you know who I am. I'm going to get Vanessa to introduce herself. But the reason why we wanted to talk as well is that Vanessa does my ads for me when I launch. There's a whole debate about using ads longer, but that's not for this discussion. And we have just been talking recently because I've just been in and effectively kind of still in a launch. And we were talking only last week about how people might be communicating now, given the pandemic, and whether they feel comfortable to, whether it's okay to sell. Should I be running my ads? Because actually they've just ended. And then we thought actually this is going to be a really helpful conversation for everyone to hear and to ask questions on. Vanessa, would you, obviously some of your audience might be here too, but would you tell anyone who doesn't know you who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Vanessa, aka Mrs. Social, and I am a Facebook and Instagram ads strategist. So I help high achieving women in business with their Facebook and Instagram ads. And I work with a lot of service-based businesses. And we had this conversation, didn't we, last week, where we just noticed everybody going into selling for free mode, and service-based businesses have such value to offer, and they have such amazing services to offer. And it just worried me that everybody felt like they had to go into free mode. So we thought that it would be good if we both hopped on here and kind of had a chat with all of you along as to kind of from a coaching perspective, your end, and from a social media perspective, my end. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be good.
Let's put the disclaimer out. This is free, right? We're doing this free. And so I don't know, I think I've seen other people talk about it. How many other people have got their Instagram going crazy right now with all the lives that are going on? I keep every second there's like another live. So that's part of our discussion, right? How do you run your business if you are still able to run it right now? Because obviously lots of people may not be able to, or can't, or are homeschooling at the same time, but also do it without adding to all of the noise. And if you have noise, making it good noise that your audience actually wants to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, staying visible whilst not putting pressure on yourself. I sent Emily a picture. I have just jumped up after tag teaming my husband with my children outside in their pants playing musical instruments. So we're all in this together, aren't we? And actually we were going to do this last week, but we felt like there was just too much going on, too many lives, too much free content potentially, but we'll talk about that. And too much pressure on ourselves. We needed some space to think about our business and our strategy and how we approach this. So another disclaimer, none of us have been through a pandemic before, so we're just offering how we're trying to tackle it, and it might be useful to you.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, maybe we'll get into this later, but what the hell, we'll say it now. I think there's also something here about when service-based businesses do show up, what's really interesting is how you're feeling behind the scenes versus how you show up. So no, we haven't experienced a pandemic before, and then there's this crazy thing of like, well, how do I feel about this personally, even before I'm coaching anyone, even before I'm worried about my clients, even before even my husband or whatever, how do I feel about that? And I think as a service-based business, that's something that you always think about anyway. And then on top of this, you're like, okay, how does this change my business? What does it mean I need to do? So Vanessa, should we, like, one of the biggest things, we've got 4 points that we wanted to go through, haven't we? Should we cover the first one?
Yeah, so should I be talking about coronavirus right now? What do you think?
100%, I think people should be. However, if you don't feel strong enough, if you don't feel well enough, if you don't feel like you can communicate with your community or your audience or whoever they are, you're not okay to. I don't think you should force yourself to, but I do think we should try. And the reason for that is that you can't ignore it. Even 2 weeks ago, when people were talking about it maybe being, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, it's sort of like, oh, maybe it's people are panicking for no reason. Definitely there is panic that doesn't have to be present. However, it is big. It is affecting everybody. It will affect everybody. And especially as a service-based business, you are likely to be in the business of helping people with something to do with their lives, like their health, their mind, their money. They're giving them some help. And I think if you ignore it, you're not going to be showing leadership for the people that you either do serve now or want to serve in the future. That, however, can put pressure on whoever's listening to that, going, oh God, oh shit, I should have said something. I should say something more. I should do more. Everyone else is saying something. Should I say? Like, if you can get yourself into a place of feeling centered and calm and compassionate to yourself, then tuning into what you think you would like to say. Anyone who follows me knows that I try and be, not try, I mean, many of us are these days, but I try and be as honest as I can be. And I think in this situation, I'm just sharing as I'm honestly saying. A couple of days ago, I put out a post that said, I think we'll get a lot wrong in the next few weeks. But I'm not willing to not try because I think I might get it wrong. So that's my take on it. How do you feel about it as an ads manager, as, you know, someone who supports people to speak louder about their businesses?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's about being really honest. And I always say that to my clients with their messaging anyway, is, you know, what is showing up for you in your business? What you find challenging? Does anybody else in your community have something that's working for them that might help them out? But also in terms of the kind of the panic, is just taking time out, thinking, how can I re-strategize? What do my clients need from me right now? What does my messaging need to be? And meet them there, where they're at, just meeting them there, acknowledging that. And by doing that, you're bringing them on a journey with you, and they are more likely to be able to and to want to support your service when you sell to them. Whether that's tomorrow, next week, through an ad, through an Instagram story, however that might be, they get you and they will appreciate you being there with them.
And I think that's really interesting, isn't it? There's the whole know, like, trust. This is a really interesting time to potentially build trust in a very unusual way, but it is possible. And do you know what? Even saying that, there's a part of me that's like, oh, it sounds a bit icky. Like, yeah, use the pandemic to get your audience to trust you. I don't mean it in that way, even if it could come across in that way. It's just about human nature. We're humans, and maybe I said this last week as well, but we're humans. We connect with humans. We tend to connect on similar things that we experience. There is nothing like the pandemic that we have all experienced at the same time globally, right? So yeah, I guess the answer to that first question for me is show up as you, as real as you can. Be of service, as we always say, for service-based businesses anyway.
Yeah. So moving on to, should I be selling then? Should I be selling right now?
I think yes, if you can. I think yes, and I'm hesitating there because there's clearly going to be lots of different types of businesses that this applies to, and you think, well, I wasn't planning on selling anything for the next 3 months, and actually the pandemic has meant that I'd actually quite like to homeschool only, and in fact I'd like to just shut my business down for 3 months. If that's you, if you can get to a place where you feel good about that and you were planning it anyway, do it. Like, there isn't pressure here to suddenly build and grow your business if it doesn't feel right. If, however, it's given you drive and or you are trying to juggle all sorts of things, but you still want to be able to run your business, then there is no reason why you shouldn't be selling. Right now, the economy is going into an interesting dive. One thing that we have, the ability as service-based businesses, and often ones that work online, not always, but have a version of something we do online, we are able to be more agile. And as a result of that, we can offer things that other companies may not be able to. The downside to that is that we often take time, our own time, before we can make profit from the thing we're offering. However, it doesn't mean that it won't build up, and it could be profitable quite quickly because we're being agile, because we're saying, I see your need. Like, completely about my business now, that one of the reasons why we had this discussion was, like, I have just finished a 5-day challenge, which very typically I would sell a program afterwards. I am selling that, however, it's adjusted. So and it's not really pivoted, I would say, it's just an adjustment of what the offer is, because the program I'm selling after the 5-day program is actually still really relevant, but I want the needs to be so exact for my audience right now. So the other thing I want to say, Vanessa, I'll let you talk, is I want to kind of highlight the fact that the people who are saying, yes, you should be selling, because this is an interesting feeling, it could be seen that the people who are saying you should be selling will benefit if everybody starts selling, because then they can buy your services. Does that make sense? Like, if I'm saying, yeah, you should sell or you should make more money, great, then I can be your coach. You can pay me to be your coach. So the difficulty is we kind of want everybody to be selling, and everybody, not necessarily to be buying from each other, but to see that that guidance is there for you, whatever kind of business you are. It doesn't matter that I'm saying it. It doesn't matter that someone else is saying it. You can do it still. And remove any shame. Just know that you're actually there to feed your family. You're there to keep the economy going. Yeah, so much about that. What do you think?
I strongly think that if you feel icky about selling now, you probably felt icky about selling before. Let's get honest. You probably didn't feel like you were comfortable getting visible anyway. So right now it's about moving out of your own way, so that you can sell your brilliant services that are probably still in demand, and there's no need to be free, given away for free. You're valuable, you hold value. So yeah, it's been really interesting for me because so many people have just dropped out of the marketplace straight away. As providers, we have, like you say, we can be agile, we're small, we can maneuver quickly, relatively low overheads, we don't have bricks and mortar products, we don't need to rely on Royal Mail. We have a unique opportunity to sell our amazing services, and people are, and they do have money, and they are going to part with it because you're brilliant. So I found it really interesting from an ads perspective.
Yeah.
We're going to be going into a period where people are on social more. We're already all on social more, aren't we? For whatever reason. People, I've noticed in the last couple of days, are going back into buying mentality because they now know, okay, we've got some clarification. We're at home for the next 3 weeks. Yeah. There are going to be people, you know, that although they are potentially juggling home and juggling their business, things have changed for them. They're probably not spending as much. So actually there are people there that are able to part with money for your services. So from an ads perspective, in terms of the question, should I be selling or not? If your offer is relevant and it's still applicable for your audiences, then absolutely try a conversions campaign. Okay, so we always say as ads managers, go for the minimum viable solution if you can. If that doesn't work, the beauty of Facebook ads is you just turn them on, and the day data will speak for itself. So none of us have gone through a pandemic. We don't know. So only the data will tell us. With so many people who have dropped out of the marketplace, actually you could do really well. You could be there in front of your ideal client. So if you decide that actually your offer right now is not quite right, or it's not quite right to sell, but it will be when the time is right, then I would strongly advise building audiences. So gathering your community, running something like a engagement campaign or a traffic campaign, and trying to build those pockets of people, so that when you have something to put in front of them, you've got them, they already know you, they already like you, they already trust you. So building your email list, whether you do that through Facebook and Instagram ads, like Pinterest, which is brilliant for building email lists. And lastly, really, I was thinking about, well, what if you're not sure? Because I wasn't sure. I don't know. Are people going to invest in online training? Are they at the point now? What do they want? What is useful?
Yeah.
So ask them. Use something wonderful tool that we have of polls in Instagram stories and Instagram live to say, hey, you know what? I want to serve you, and I want to serve you as best as possible. So what is you? I want to develop something, and could you co-create something together? A really great relevant offer.
We love giving feedback, don't we? We love being asked for our opinion. So if that's brilliant, because if we can have a chance to say, I think this actually, then that's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And you know that they're going to be warmer when you sell it to them.
Yes. Okay, so I love the fact about the ads as well. And really your first point, I'd echo, like, have you ever actually minded selling? And is this just highlighting the things that you maybe felt uncomfortable with before? I used to, and we've had this conversation, you and I, Vanessa, before about ads. It took me a long time to get my mindset around ads. And God, I'm pleased I did, because they've really transformed my business. And also, I didn't have to be anyone different. I could just be me and reach more people. And that's just a beautiful thing. But that took a mindset shift. So what I think the pandemic might be doing is also helping people to remove some of the blocks automatically of the things that they didn't have a priority for before, and the things they were scared of. I think there's a significant proportion of people who are now making a priority of some of the things they wouldn't have done, and are no longer scared, because it's gone, oh, F it, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to do the thing I wanted to do. Like, I'm going to go live. I'm going to sell my thing. So there's another proportion of people who are going to be selling more because of that feeling. And if that's you in the audience, then say hello, because there's a lovely feeling of like, I don't care what anyone thinks when I sell. I know it's of service. That is such an amazing feeling, pandemic or not, by the way.
Exactly. I mean, is there anybody on right now still feeling a bit icky about selling on Instagram stories, etc., or are you feeling like you have this has given you an opportunity to be more visible in your business? Because I've definitely seen people coming out of their comfort zone, which is brilliant, and you know, stepping out of their own way to record stories about how they're feeling and sharing, whether it's behind the scenes or you know, asking their audience actually what kinds of things would you be interested in. So I strongly believe that it's a great opportunity for us to just be us. So the whole, you know, you do you thing, because actually we can make of this what we want. We can all, our individuality and our unique nature, our unique offerings is what's going to stand out right now.
Yeah, 100%. And also there's something, so I'll just go on for a couple of minutes. There's something there about, I guess a final point or question is around people worrying that they are now taking their maybe offline, predominantly offline business online, and how do they do that? But also if somebody's already online, if I do it now, it's just crowded already. But what you've said is so true. If we can have the mindset behind us that says, it doesn't matter if it's crowded, I will always stand out if I have a genuinely unique way of saying this or being, or people see me as different. Like, that's what we've all got to get used to.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely going through a period of feeling was feeling quite anxious and quite panicky that people were first, that people were offering, the whole marketplace was flooded with free content.
Yeah.
And it's about going back and re-strategizing, thinking about, we had a question around launches and campaigns, didn't we? And now, you know, I've had a planning day in my diary for tomorrow since the beginning of the year, which is something new for me. And I'm keeping it in there because actually the end of March should be a natural time to plan anyway, plan the next weeks, your upcoming launches, your upcoming campaigns. But maybe your ad sales funnel looks slightly different this time. Maybe you're going to be, instead of going to conversions, maybe you're looking at building your audiences through video views campaigns, or you're going to launch a competition and try and get lots of engagement, etc. So the next 3 months will look slightly different, and it's all going to be about testing, which is what we always say. And Emily's probably saying it as an ads manager, but
I love it. I love it. Do you know what testing requires? It requires a bit of, so this is interesting, testing does require a bit of budget, and that's the interesting thing, going into this knowing I'm willing to be able to test X percentage of my budget on this and being okay with that, and not always seeing a return, but then eventually seeing a much bigger return. And it takes some time. Like, I used to do my own ads, and then I was like, this is taking me too long, I need someone to do it. That's why I've got you. So yeah, it isn't always just the immediate thing. You don't put out an ad now and kind of get a client tomorrow. Some people might, but you will start being able to build your audience and awareness and engagement. You know, and there's that thing of like, well, how do I send ads to people now? You be honest in them. If your service is something that helps someone right now in the pandemic, like I've called it working from homeschooling. If you've got answers for that, people are going to want that. If you've got answers for mental health right now, people are going to want that. If you've got answers for how to keep making money in your business, how to show up, how to be brilliant even when things aren't very certain, it's okay to send ads to people who it's going to be relevant for, and let them know that you're there. Like, that's what I say.
With empathy. So be soft with the messaging. It's not all about building six-figure businesses anymore. It's not about acronyms and all the things that you and I have quite an aversion to as a marketing messaging. It's about selling with empathy. And I always advise clients to test out their messaging organically. So if you can test out your messaging within your Instagram stories or on your feed or whatever, then you'll start to get an idea with what's resonating with your audience, and therefore what might work for an ad. But most definitely it is about testing right now.
Brilliant. I'm just going to check and see if there's any questions at the bottom, Vanessa. As my business model, so the Hunger Rebel, as my business model is digital, I think now my offering is poignant. Great, as it's teaching healthy cooking at home. Amazing. However, I just feel weird selling at the moment, so as so many are in financial uncertainty. Okay, so what I would say about that is it's not untrue that so many are or might be in financial uncertainty, and we're not trying to gloss over that, but there will be others who aren't, and there will be others also who, even if they are, they prioritise your service. They want to cook at home, probably together with their family. So would you let that, and I'm not saying it's an untrue belief, but will you let that belief stop you from running your potentially much bigger, more successful business and from selling what you need to the right people? That would be my question back to you.
Yes, I just to add to that, I have, in the last literally 24 hours, I have moved myself out of my way of my kind of presumption that nobody has any money anymore. Actually, like I said before, they're going out for coffee less, they're paying office costs or hot desking costs or whatever. So actually, you know, some people have savings, some people are you know, redistributing their pocket. So actually, and yeah, that's literally a massive shift that I've made in the last day, and it's really important that we don't presume that nobody has any money and therefore there's nothing to go around.
Yeah, and even getting that right is super sensitive. We'll get that wrong. Like, whether you shove the fact that I know you've still got money, like, you don't start with that message. You start with the absolutely beautiful service that you offer anyway, and the right people will come. And again, Vanessa said it, testing, telling. I think all of this is about being willing to show up and sometimes fail so that we succeed. We want I want myself, I want Vanessa, I want all of you to succeed, because that keeps our economy going for what we can get it going with. I think by Friday there'll be an announcement about self-employment reimbursement funding as well. So that's a really interesting thing for us to look out for. Does that mean that we'll be getting some funds that are very much needed for lots of people? But also, actually, if I got that, whether you claim for it or not, what would I use it for in my business? Like, there's a really interesting point that if that happens by Friday, maybe some people can start thinking about that too.
Facebook ad.
Like, spend it all with me. Lovely to talk to you, Vanessa. I will catch up with you soon. And anyone who's been on the live, if you have questions for me or Vanessa, feel free to send us a DM. Yeah. Vanessa, you are at Mrs. Social, aren't you? In case anyone didn't see that.
I am. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Have a really nice rest of your Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.